Uh, Hi, my name is Donovan. I'm a filmmaker and author, and welcome to The Notebook.
Better hear what I've got to say because you won't get it again.
Oh, come on. Don't do this to me now. Okay, there's the focus. So yeah, I kind of wanted a place to be able to put my thoughts a little bit more, and uh, a lot's happened since the last video that we made here on this channel, and so I wanted to kind of do a reintroduction of myself as well as what I do as an artist and what this space is going to be. So for those of you that don't know me, again, hi. My name's Donovan. I'm a filmmaker and author based out of Los Angeles, and I like to make films around how do we change the world through talking about hard conversations that we're not used to talking about, especially around mental health. And so this is what this space is going to be. I'm very excited for this. I wanted to make a series that could kind of use as, like I said, a notebook of my thoughts. Never having really any direction, but sort of just being a place where I can say, hey, this is how I'm doing. And so welcome to the notebook. And recently I've been finding myself more slowly figuring out my life. And I think that's interesting. I think it's been a cool experience to get to say that I'm kind of doing what I love, even if I don't know exactly what that is. I think that's kind of been the big thing for me recently in realizing that I think we try to find answers in our life a lot, and I've always been one to try to give everyone around me all the answers that I can give them and be helpful and be something. And I think I've started to realize that sometimes we don't need answers, we just need doing. We just need to keep doing something, and for me that's been art. People have asked, like, what is it like being a full-time artist, and what is it like pursuing that and doing all these sort of things, and I realize that I don't know. I don't know an answer to that. I don't know really what is the right and wrong way to go about a career in the arts and a career in general. But I'm doing what I love, and I think that's been interesting as a kind of thing to realize, is at 22 I've been enjoying my life a bit more. And I thought about this a lot more recently after coming back from a trip in Colorado. I have an amazing group of friends who are also creators, and one of my friends, Simon, invited us to 3 days in the middle of nowhere in Colorado, and it was meeting a bunch of other creators and a bunch of other people who were just kind of like me, kind of figuring their life out, not really knowing what the answers are. But that was a cool thing, and the conversations that arose from that trip made me think a lot about what do I want to leave this world having done. And I think the answers become, I want to leave this life having lived. And I know that sounds like kind of counterintuitive and like, oh, you're already doing that because you're born and all these sort of things. But I've realized recently that I think there isn't a really big case for a lot of us living. And we're not sort of taught that way. I was recently reading a book called The Courage to Be Disliked. And the whole book talks about Adlerian psychology, which Adler was a contemporary to Freud, who is a theorist that a lot of us know through like the foundations of understandings of trauma and everything else in between. But Adler was a contemporary to him in the case of saying sometimes there is a necessity for us to simply choose to take our lives into our own hands and live. And I think I've slowly began to realize what that meant. In understanding that there won't be answers per se, but there might just be the journey of living and the journey of experiencing what this life means. And I think that's really interesting. And it was amazing getting to be around other people who were just kind of experimenting on life. And I think that's kind of what I've realized a lot within myself recently was I don't know what tomorrow brings. I don't know what's on the other side of anything, except that I want to keep trying. And for me, that's been the really cool thing about art in the art world, is that we're all just one big experiment. Is that it's a constant iteration of different people and different ideas and thoughts and art styles and everything else in between. And it's experimenting. It's not believing that there might be answers, but more or less there just might be the journey of finding answers. And I titled this notebook entry as I think I'm slowly figuring out my life. Because I think I am. And granted, like I have to address that I'm 22 and I don't have all the answers. But I'm a lot more willing to try to find them than I think most people are. And that's been the cool part about all of this. I think that's what I realized, especially with this YouTube channel and with partnering with Patreon, like I'll talk about in a little bit, and working with Meta and all these sort of things, is that when I say yes to some of these things, I don't ever know the outcome, but I do hope that it means something, or at least the time spent with it was not time wasted. It was time learning and timed experience and timed experimenting. And that's been the really interesting part about life recently, is that I think I'm slowly figuring out that my life is one big experiment, and we have to keep trying. And so, yeah, the light's like going away, so I think I should probably go. But I did just want to say those sort of things and sort of address, hi, welcome to season 2 of what this YouTube channel is going to be. If you followed me for like my tutorials and gear reviews and stuff like that, I might still do that because that's stuff that I'm interested in and I find it really cool and something. But also I want to do some things more like this, where you get to talk to camera, sort of think about the world a bit more, share stories that have interested me, and share stories of my friends who are also really interesting in my eyes. And so, yeah, this was the notebook. I guess this is where I normally, as like a YouTube person, and if it would want to focus, hi, as a YouTube person would say like, hey, like and subscribe, follow for more videos. I'm going to try to do this a bit more consistently. And on the subject of consistency, I do want to give a huge shout out to the folks at Patreon who have been really, really supportive recently and have helped me launch my Patreon. So that being said, if you do want to support what I do here and what I do as an artist and a creative, both here on YouTube and on Instagram and on TikTok, I did just launch Patreon, and over there will be weekly live streams, there will be a monthly newsletter, as well as just behind the scenes of making these videos and making other videos as well. If you want to stay connected to me in a more in-depth way, and also even if you want to get feedback on your writing and things like that, Patreon is a place to do that, and they've been super, super cool. Working with Patreon has always been a dream of mine, so it's been awesome getting to launch that alongside them. So, yeah, if you want to follow me there, or follow me anywhere, it is at The Mind of Soul. And, yeah, this was the notebook. I know it doesn't make sense, but this space is mine, so peace.